Well, hey, everybody. Glad to have y'all on here. For those of you that are brand new to our team, welcome. Sometimes we take it for granted when you jump on, Leadership 25 that everybody knows what's going on, but sometimes there's new people and this is your first time on here, so welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Danny McDaniel. I'm one of your team leaders and very happy to be able to train today on leadership through the Leadership 25 series that we're doing. And that comes from the book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And I want to just even review, how this thing got started. I'll cover that very quickly today. For those of you that are newer, my wife and I, Diane, in 1999, we were in our first direct sales company, and we'd been in for 2 years. And at our convention on the leadership day, which was in the, just a private leadership meeting, we had a leadership meeting with John Maxwell, the author of the 21 Laws of Leadership. And that book had just come out, and he trained a small group of us, probably 20 people or so. And he called it the You Were in the Room training. And he said, you'll never forget this day because you were in the room, and you'll always remember you were in the room. And he trained on it. And then we had lunch with him, and then he trained at the conference as well that day to, 2,000 or 3,000 people. And then he started a leadership program. The next 21 weeks after the convention, they called it Leadership 21. For the next 21 weeks, he had a weekly call with us, and we had a cassette tape that went with it because they did the recording and then mailed us the cassette tape. And that exploded our business, and it raised up leaders, and people that ordinarily hadn't had success started getting success. And it exploded our company. And we never forgot how impactful that Leadership 21 program was. And so we've always been a proponent of John Maxwell's teachings, leadership teachings and stuff. But, here a few months ago, Don and I just came to the realization that, we've got to get this back out, and we got to get this to our team. Our team's got to get this book in them and the principles that go with it. And in the meantime, Don and I have been growing. We've been gathering insights that have strengthened us and helped us with blind spots and just different weaknesses and things that we've even forgotten. And so welcome to Leadership 25. So let's go to the law of victory. So we got the law of victory. In this chapter is super simple. Here's the thing about the law of victory. Victorious, and these are quotes out of the book. The victorious leaders possess an unwillingness to accept defeat. This has been probably the story of my life. You ever heard those people say, you know what, I just hate losing. I hate to lose. And whether it's cards, whether it's a card game, whether it's croquet, whether it's Catan, whether it's ping pong, I hate to lose. What's really wild, just so you know, is in network marketing, I don't see it as competition. So I've never, in the 28 years I've been in this business, I've never had a spirit of competition against another distributor. You know why? Because I'm not playing them. I'm not across the ping pong table from another distributor. I'm not winning anything over another distributor. When I got in this business, there's a paycheck that's supposed to be paid. There's ranks and all that good stuff. I mean, that ranks are ranks, and that's all great. But at the end of the day, it's about what is the check going into my bank account. And so I'm not competing against somebody else for my check and Diane's check, for our check to grow and go into our bank account. So it's not competition. You have to make sure that you see both of those. It's okay to be competitive, but there's no need for competition with other brand partners in a network marketing company. However, having a competitive spirit is pretty incredible, because if you don't like to lose, then it's going to, and if you hate to lose, it's probably going to lend towards your favor as you grow a business, because it's not always easy. There's peaks and valleys here. You already see the alternative to winning. The alternative to winning is usually unacceptable to them. So, which means losing is unacceptable to me. I mean, I absolutely hate it. Even the many, many years in a row that We played so much beach volleyball. I have no volleyball experience and wasn't even very good at beach volleyball from a technical side of things and from the fundamentals of volleyball in serving and in hitting it and everything. But I could get out there and scrap, and I mean, and I was going to I was going to make sure that our team was part of the winning team. In fact, I'll tell you a story real quick. One time we were in Hawaii, and we were in our former company was full of athletes and ex-athletes and even volleyball players and real sand volleyball players, and some in college, played in college and stuff. And one time we'd been playing all day. It was getting toward the late afternoon, and I was next in line. It was four against four for beach volleyball. I was next in line. I had the next game, and the the two people from Ohio that were also next in line behind me could have been on my team. And I asked them if they wanted to be on my team, and they said no, because they knew I was a scrapper. I wasn't like talented. I was just going to win, and they chose not to. And and then the winning team actually picked somebody left and walked off, so they picked these two, serious volleyball players, along with an ex-college volleyball player and another really skilled volleyball player. So there's four really skilled, serious volleyball players on the other side, and I had the next game, and I didn't have everybody pretty much going to change for dinner. And I had my two sons I called over and another guy from Tennessee, and I gathered them in the middle of the court. I said, "Hey guys," and I was talking to my kids. I said, "Matt, I can't speak for you right now, so just, that's okay. I know you're going to do great." But I looked at my son Cam and Gavin, and I said, "Boys, here's the thing. We're McDaniels, and we don't lose." And just gave him a little speech and said, we're gonna win this thing because this is who we are. And we got out there and we started playing. We should have got killed. It should have been like 21-4 or something like that. And guys, we scrapped all the way to the end, and it was like 21-19. I mean, we almost won over four seriously skilled volleyball competitors. Why? Because the alternative to winning, which is losing, was unacceptable to us. And that fares you well in everything in life. And sometimes, but now let's go to crisis, because sometimes crisis will bring out the best in you, but also bring out the worst in leaders. So we're all talking about leadership. So when it comes to victory, a leader has to handle themselves with humility. They have to handle themselves in such a way, where as they're pursuing excellence and as they're pursuing the victory, handle it right. But you know what? Sometimes we need a crisis to make us move and to make us win. When we first got in this industry 28 years ago, it was a crisis that caused us to move. It was a crisis of losing year in and year out, living with rats and roaches, living in beat up houses, driving beat up cars, having no money, not being able to afford diapers, getting to a point where we had just hit the end of our rope. I mean, we were at the end of the road. And so I was looking for financial breakthrough. I was looking for anything that would come across my face that would help me make extra money for my family. Diane had just made flyers, had quit her job working for a mortgage company that was treating her like dirt, and she quit her job so she could be self-employed and was starting a house cleaning business. And she created business cards and flyers and was about to go door to door to flyer houses with her spring cleaning business to scrub commodes so that she could be her own boss. That's how bad we wanted victory. And so that's what changed everything for us. The day before my wife started her house cleaning business is when we experienced this direct sales opportunity in 1997 that changed our life forever. And we took $130 to start that business and ran it up the flagpole. It was the crisis. It was our backs were against the wall. There's no way out. There's no one to bail us out. And I'll tell you this about victory. Here's the problem with Americans. The problem with us as Americans is this. We have credit cards that we can rely on, and we have GoFundMe that we can rely on, and we have parents that we can rely on. And until our credit cards run out and they come to an end, and until GoFundMe is no longer an option, and until your parents are no longer an option, most people won't ever really do anything, because we live in a spoiled country. and you have to get to the end of your credit cards. You have to get to the end of GoFundMe. You have to get to the end of your parents. And you got to go, you know what? If it's going to happen, I've got to make something happen. So in a crisis, respond to the pressure. Okay, here's what John Maxwell says about the law of victory. That leadership is responsible. Losing is unacceptable. Passion is unquenchable. Creativity is essential. Quitting is unthinkable. Commitment is unquestionable. And victory is inevitable. This is how victorious leaders think. This is how people that refuse to lose think. That I got an unquenchable passion to get this X39 patch out to the world. Why? Because it pays me really well. Okay. If it didn't pay me, let's be honest. Let's be really sincere. If it didn't pay me, I'd share it with a bunch of people, but I wouldn't share it to the level that I'm sharing it right now. I'm sharing it because I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid to market something that is absolutely changing people's lives, and I have incredible passion with it because I like earning money to use as a tool to be able to go throughout the world and preach the gospel and heal the sick and raise the dead and do all the things that God's called me to do. And that takes money to get on airplanes. It takes money for hotel rooms. It takes money for this Airbnb. It takes that I'm staying in. It takes money. Money is a tool. And so my passion is unquenchable because I want to be on more planes for the next 40 years of my life, 4 more decades. I want to be in hotel rooms and resorts for the next 40 years of my life. I want to be in countries throughout the world for the next 40 years of my life. And it's going to take money for that travel and money to be generous and money to bless people's lives as we go. So I'm going to have creativity. I'm going to think of ways to advance the team. Even in the past 72 hours or so, or the past 4 days, if you guys look on school, I've been working on things that are going to advance the team. I posted 4 things last night to help advance the team because I'm always thinking, how can we, even as great as our systems are, how can I do things to help people win faster, to win quicker, to win bigger, to be more effective in their communication? This is what you do when you're concerned about your players winning, your team members winning. It's because to me, quitting is unthinkable. I'm not going to quit. And I've got the commitment, and it's unquestionable. And I know you do too. Victory is inevitable. Why? Because of our thinking. So Maxwell's 3 components to victory. Got 3 minutes. 1 is unity of vision. 2 is diversity of skills. And 3 is a leader dedicated to victory and raising team members to their potential. Unity of vision is everything. One thing I love about our team is there's unity. I love there's unity in this company amongst major team leaders in this company. That's why the company's exploding like it's exploding, and we're achieving the victories that we're having because of unity. So if we remain in that unity and people aren't divisive with the vision, then you can have more victory coming your way and you can celebrate these victories with your team. A diversity of skills. There's a lot to train there. We're not going to necessarily train on it, but in achieving victory, you need many different types of team members with different gifts, different skills, different talents that can offer different things, because it's much like the body. The eye can't do what my hand does, and my hand can't do what my elbow does, and my elbow can't do what my feet do. So I need every part of the body to be able to function 100%. So not only are we helping people with their bodies to function 100%, we have all these different types of team members that come in, and we all come together and use our diversity of skills to allow the team to win and allow the team to win big. So 3rd, a leader dedicated to victory and raising team members to the potential. This is essential. As we grow as leaders, we want to do everything we can as a leader to, 1, not overwhelm our team, but number 2, help raise them up, above and beyond their wildest dreams in their potential. Because a lot of times people haven't gotten anywhere near their potential. I mean, I haven't gotten near my potential, and I know I can increase in my productivity in life and what I can do. So 1, I pray for that. I pray for God to enlarge my capacity. I pray for God to enlarge my territory and lay his hand on me and guard me from evil so that I may not cause pain. So I'm always trying to expand my ability, my sphere of influence, my capacity to think, my capacity to be creative, my capacity to dream, so that I can help raise up team members to do the same thing. And we've got an incredible team full of all kinds of leaders that do this. I haven't named a bunch of names today, but Diane and I are, we're just extremely proud of our entire team and the leadership that's on the entire team that we have. And our goal is for all of you guys that haven't achieved high ranks yet in this business, to help get you to where you want to be, to help raise you up too, because this thing is about producing leaders. And that's what excites us the most. We know the more leaders we produce, the easier it is for us to get replaced. And that is our goal, is to be replaced. Our goal is to not have to show up, because we have so many leaders that do all these things. And not that we're going to quit, but we don't have to show up, because we've just reproduced everywhere. And so that's the process of leadership, is reproducing, reproducing who you are. That doesn't mean people have to be your clone. It just means reproducing who you are based upon your vision, your character, your humility, your commitment, how you live your life, how you treat people, what you say to people, how you say it to people, how you, and how you build. Those are the kind of things that we want to reproduce, so that we have a strong army and that we achieve victory, and that people buy into us. Because if they buy into us, this is even easier and easier and easier. Because even as great as this is, it's not easy. That's why it's sold through direct selling, because this can't just sit on the shelf and just walk. It doesn't just walk off the shelf. It needs leaders to share the message in order, for this to multiply throughout the earth. And there's great rewards attached to that as you build teams and teams of teams.